Are you not getting enough bookings in your Airbnb business? Well, this video is going to show you the 3 major mistakes that most hosts make that you can avoid. Number 1 is your photographs on your listings. I see this time and time again. People do not invest in their photography and they make a really bad job of it. You've got to remember that this is your show home. This is the thing that is going to stop the scroll, going to let them investigate your property a bit more and potentially open that conversation or even just make a booking outright there and then. However, too many people do not pay attention to this. They take photographs on their iPhone with poor lighting and, beds not made properly, toilet seats up, the list goes on and on. I'm going to dive into Airbnb now. Let's take a look at some listings and just show you exactly what goes on. That's good and bad and how you can make a difference to your revenue by investing in photography, professional photography at that, and ensuring that your listings stand out from the crowd. Okay, so what we're going to do now is dive into Airbnb. I'm going to show you some good and bad listings and how you can make sure that you stay ahead of your competition. So let's just quickly search for an area. Let's go my favorite city and let's just choose this and let's just have a quick look through. So, okay, your feature image is really important. So, a lot of difference here you can see. I mean, for me, this one stands out really well. That's what I'd be wanting to display on my listings. And I'd want to make sure that we're showing the guest inside straight away. I think location is super important, but a lot of the listings here do tend to show the beaches and stuff first. There's no right and wrong with that. For me, it's a personal preference. I would be in favor of testing this. So test some with locations, test some with inside properties first, and then show it off. I think you should be trying to mix it up with photographs very quickly, very soon. So what I mean by that is every 2 or 3 photographs is a different room or a different piece. You shouldn't be just 10 pictures of the same bedroom or 10 pictures of the same place. You've got to mix it up. You've got to change the attention of the booker. So if we just scroll through these here, a lot of photographs about the outdoor space. I'm still not inside the apartment. For me, I've switched off by now. We get to the apartment, probably 20 photographs in. Superhost, again, very bad lighting on these photographs. Let's just open this up a bit further. Very dull lighting on these photographs. Just, not very intriguing and attracting, yes, nicely set up, very good, we're showing the features, looks very clean, looks like a lovely place. I just think with professional lighting, these photographs could have really sold this property a lot more. This one here, again, there's a lot of stuff going on, lighting isn't great. They have, in this photograph here, you'll see left the lights on, which is a lot better. A lot of lamps and stuff on here, an absolute must. Get as much light into the photographs as you possibly can. Everything looks nice and tidy. A few pictures of the outside, which is great. Just go back here. This looks a bit messy to me. I personally would have white bed linen. Just looks so much more attractive with a nice robe on there, and again, I get the idea of this. It looks very homely and as though you're staying in someone's house, but really people want to be staying in hotels. That's the feel and vibe that you want to be given, that luxury hotel vibe. Let's just go back to a few more. This one here for me stands out as a great listing. The light on this is incredible. You can tell that they've used professional photography. The styling of the apartment is so clean, nothing's out of place. Small thing here for me with my OCD is this overhanging bed, not particularly made properly, looking great, but let's say we can't fault them for the rest of the stuff. You're not seeing any wires hanging anywhere, looking very clean. And kitchen looks great. We've got the features here, we've got a blender, we've got the kettle, all that sort of stuff, which is great. Showers, I potentially put some toiletries in here, some bathrobes, some shower, some towels, if you can. Create a feature, what you want to be doing. The only thing that I would say this is lacking is what is the experience I'm going to get when I come here? So a MacBook here to show that you can work from this place would be, a great, investment into that sort of photograph. Be a great investment into that particular photograph. Possibly some wine glasses here with, you know, some red wine in, also known as Ribena. A little trick for you there. On the bread plate here, we could have, you know, some nice fruit and stuff getting chopped up. So just make it feel lived in. You know, 2 nice glasses of white wine sat out here on the table with, you know, looking out onto the balcony. You could even get someone to do that for you. Towels on the beds here. So, you know, you're just trying to bring to life the experience of the property and make sure that the guest knows when they're checking in what they're going to get. The guest knows when they're booking what type of stay are they going to get by staying with you. And the photos, you know, you hear it 1,000 times. They paint 1,000 words. You know, a photograph can paint more words than you can write in your description. So for me, lighting's great in this photograph. Collage, photograph collection. I just feel like they haven't sold the experience of what it could be like to stay there. Put those two together and you've got a game changer of a listing. Okay, number 2 is cutting corners, which will leave a bad review and ultimately affect your revenue. So, far too many people buy cheap. And when you buy cheap, you buy twice. I've made that mistake in the past, so don't go for cheap stuff. At the same time, you don't want to be blowing fortunes on things like furniture and coffee machines and luxury items that are not needed. You have to find a good balance, because at the end of the day, this is a business that we're running. Every bit of expense you need to recoup back before you make any profit. So you don't want to be spending too much, but at the same time, you don't want to be spending so little that you get bad reviews and you just never get off the ground. Now, a negative review in your first few stays is really suicidal. So what you must do is delete the listing and reset the new listing up. Okay, you've got to get rid of that listing. You have to get off to a good start. Back to cutting corners. So what can we cut corners on? Furniture, blinds, curtains, toiletries, towel setups, carpets, floors, grout. There's all sorts of things in a property. And what I always say is, if you would allow your children to go and stay there, then 9 times out of 10, that's fine. For me, if I wouldn't be prepared to allow my child to stay there, then why should I accept that somebody else can stay there? And for me, that mentality has worked a treat. And I continue to refresh the properties. I continue to keep the standards high, which is hard when there's maintenance and wear and tear on these properties. Over the years, a nice looking property will eventually become a bit tired. You will have to reinvest in the property. So always factor that into your calculations. The competition is getting better. The competition is moving further ahead. You have to be keeping up with that. What worked 3 years ago doesn't work in the marketplace now. You have to be cleaner. You have to have better furniture. You have to be really selling that experience and delivering on that to be able to cut through the noise, beat the competition and make profit. So do not cut corners. Where possible, source things in cheaper for sure. The same items a bit cheaper, but make sure that your places feel like a high quality hotel and that you personally would want to stay there. Number 3 is your pricing strategy. Far too many people think that a dynamic pricing tool is the easiest way to make money in this game. Let me tell you, a dynamic pricing tool is fantastic if you know how to use the data that it's going to deliver. It is not a plug, play and forget and just all of a sudden magically your properties are going to generate loads of revenue. A pricing strategy feeds off data based on multiple data sets within your territory, within your country, but ultimately you have to know how to use that data. Let me give you a case and example. My portfolio has plenty of units in Newcastle. Every year we have the Great North Run. Now, it will show that Newcastle is busy around the second week of September and that the prices should go up. Now, I have a property that is 20 yards away from the start line. That pricing tool does not tell me that that property in particular is probably worth to a elite runner 50%, 100%, 200% more than what the market's offering for the territory as a whole. So we make sure that the properties near the start line are priced even higher than what the properties in Newcastle as a whole are being priced at. So that's just one example.
A couple of other examples is how you will maximize shoulder days, gap stays, making sure that you can try and get upsells from, people want to check in, check out late, and, everything else that goes within your pricing and revenue management strategy. A dynamic pricing tool cannot do that for you, and far too many people rely on them. Now, they are essential. I do believe in them, and I work with them, and they are fantastic. But I also have a revenue manager who looks at the data on a daily basis. They analyze the data, they make tweaks. We look at how many daily bookings we're getting, and we're making sure that day by day we're getting more and more and more bookings, because that means that our pricing strategy is good, we're on top of it, we're capturing as much of the market as possible, and that we are heading in the right direction. Pricing your data without a tool is suicidal, because you will miss bookings. There's no way you can manually react to the markets when they are changing as quick as they possibly change. So invest in these type of tools to give you the data, but then on a daily basis, you need to be analyzing that data to make such a tool work for you and your business. They are my 3 major mistakes that I see Airbnb hosts making all the time. And if you avoid them, you will be profitable in this game, because this game is unbelievable. The travel industry is the 2nd largest industry in the world. There are billions and billions of pounds spent every single year worldwide on travel, whether that's tourist travel, professional travel, or corporate travel. It is getting spent, and you can be collecting that money because people want to stay in places now. They don't want hotel rooms. And that trend is starting to go more in favor of us, the Airbnb hosts, and against the hotels, who are constantly now trying to become Airbnb style hosts. They're starting to create apartments within their hotels. There's a trend happening towards us. They're fighting back. So get ahead of the game, know what you're doing, make plenty of money, reinvest that cash back into more units, create more cash flow for yourself. And main thing you've got to do is build good systems and processes out behind the scenes of your operations, or ultimately you'll just create another job for yourself, and that's not what you want. You want to be in a position where you are working on the business, not in the business, and therefore you don't have a job. You are a successful business owner, and you can scale it limitlessly. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and you'll get notified every time that we go live. And don't forget to check out one of the previous videos in the series.